in pandemic, so it's been a little bit unusual. So, and you all look very different with masks on. So, I just want to say thank you for being here. I'm really excited. This was one of the first events that I saw. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry. Thanks, Father Steve. So again, we've got a live stream tonight. I forgot about that, so we need that for the microphone. And I want to welcome all of you. Thank you for your support of our students. As I was starting to say, that this was one of the very first events that I attended here at St. Francis, and I was just so impressed. The concept is fantastic, but then when you're here and you see the way that our students have thought this through, the way that they present their ideas, the quality of the ideas, and the fact that they're trying to do something in our world is really impressive. And you are in for a great presentation tonight. I do want to thank our judges who are back there, have a very difficult job in front of them, which is a wonderful problem to have. I also want to thank Baron Cannon and Father Steve Kim, who've done a great job with their classes in preparing them for tonight and organizing this event. We were so excited that we were able to have this back on campus, so thank you for being a part of it. So we'll open up tonight. Father Steve Kim will open us in prayer. Again, welcome to Lancer Tank.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Loving God, we give you thanks for gathering us as a community, as a Holy Cross community. We give thanks for the opportunity to be together, to see smiling faces, to be healthy, but also be with people. We also recognize areas in our country and in the world that are still suffering. We pray for them. And we also give thanks to all of us gathered here. Help us with a spirit of openness, as we hear these presentations, and be humbled to learn from the students here. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Great. So nice to see some of you here, in person, and also through the video and the live stream here. As Mr. Curtis mentioned there, we have two classes. My class, Design Thinking for Justice, and Mr. Cannon's class, Entrepreneurship class, presenting this evening, and this is, I think, my fourth year teaching this class, and it's been an honor, it's been a privilege to teach this class, a senior elective religion class. And what happens is the students, trivia question: what does your child take for religion junior year? Never mind. something. Take something. They take social justice, yeah? They take social justice. And a lot of time they finish the social justice class thinking like, well, how come there's all these problems out there and I can't do anything about it, right? And many times the teachers say, well, you're just a little kid. What can you do, right? But then in my class, they kind of explore and kind of go further, right? And then one of the first questions that I ask is, what is it that you're kind of angry about? You know, what is it that kind of like gets you all riled up in the world? And that fits into the one of the 7 tenets of the Catholic social teaching, and they kind of explore that. And I think it doesn't take a genius to figure out there's a lot of things are angry about, in the world, right? And just so many things going on. And I think if there's a year to actually do this kind of class, it would probably be this class, because there's so many things that's going on, right? And I taught 2 semesters, and they focused on all kinds of topics from hunger, from immigration, to police brutality, to racism. And I really challenge students to let's go into these really sensitive topics, right? And if we don't learn, and if we don't try to work these things out, we're never going to learn, right? And it was kind of interesting for me, where not only navigating through the Zoom, but at the beginning they're like, oh yeah, racism, I got that, no problem. Oh, really? Right? Oh, yeah, we got this. Oh, hunger, world hunger, we got you. No problem. Good luck. And then seeing the students kind of being frustrated that they can't figure this out, and recognizing that this is perhaps a lifelong journey. Perhaps a problem that maybe they cannot solve themselves in this generation. But it was kind of humbling for me to journey with them, and you'll really like some of these topics. And our class focus more on the social impact, and how do we make a difference. And Mr. Barron's class, his focus was on entrepreneurship and the business aspect, which we'll invite him now. Okay.
Thank you very much, Father Steve. Thank you guys all very much for coming out. I've been the annoying one who's been sending you all of the emails, confirmations after confirmations, and making sure everyone has a seat. And indeed, thank you all very much as we go through clearly a different time for our entire community to remain safe and have this be a really fun and interesting event for all of us. Regarding the class, it's really been a whole lot of fun for me because business for me is really more of something practical that I do. So for example, I've been the operational lead of our summer programs for the last, oh my goodness, about 7 years or so. And so to take students through that same kind of process, not just thinking about simple things that, or at least to them, might seem simple, like the logistics of running an event, or collecting money, or creating an idea that's so enticing, so exciting for your customer or for your family, that it really draws people out, captures their imagination, and gets them even to take out their wallets and, yes, give us their money. Which, of course, is a fun element for this, for these students. To them, to a certain extent, it's a game. But for so many of us out in the real world, it's how we make a living. And indeed, I think in this context of the pandemic, I think we really saw something special with entrepreneurship. You know, we need not look any farther away than I think to the restaurateur, right? The restaurant owner, that when thrown something like the pandemic, said to themselves, okay, this thing that I did normally, right? This way of making money, this way of employing people, of giving them a living wage, of making something enticing and delicious for our customers, all that has to be thrown out the window and we got to do something else. Literally, we have to go outside. I think we really should not underestimate the ingenuity, the grit, the willingness to fail, to try something new. It is so endemic in the entrepreneur. It's really not just a job. It's a way of thinking. And I think it's really that way of thinking that I've tried to instill in our students in this entrepreneurship class. The class, just to kind of give it to you in a nutshell, goes over the different aspects of running a business, right? Starting with value creation, creating something that will hopefully delight our customers, talking to them, understanding their problems, especially when we incorporate the design thinking process, starting with empathy, listening to our customer and really understanding what their hassle is, what their need is, and designing something that suits them best. Then we go through marketing and sales, understanding what the landscape is around us, and who else, for example, might be creating a product similar to ours. How can we outcompete them? How can we differentiate our product? And so on. And then, of course, wrapping with operations and operations and finance, beg your pardon. And so all of that encapsulated here is what especially for my class, is you're going to be seeing today. Right? They're going to go through not just the process of a problem, and indeed you should be listening for that. The stories they tell about the problems that are out there in the world, and then them as entrepreneurs, what solutions they believe they've found, that they've tested with potential audiences, potential customers, and to see the ways in which they can improve people's lives. It really is a beautiful process, and it's one that I hope that you'll listen to and watch intently with me as we celebrate our students here for entrepreneurship and design thinking for justice. Thank you all very much for coming out tonight. What I want to do is show you guys how you can become a part of this process. In addition to our 4 judges who are with us tonight, giving their input on the value of each of our students' products, is we have a process for you guys to vote. There are, as you know, 4 grants of $1,000 apiece that we're going to be giving out to the students right here on this stage tonight. 3 of those are going to come as the result of our judges' insights and decisions made there. For you, you guys have control over what we call the People's Choice Award. So at this time, what I'd like you to do is practice being a part of this voting process. Whether you're here in person tonight or you're watching us remotely through the live stream, everyone can take part in this voting process. If you're here and you are able to see the QR code, you can go ahead and scan that right now, and that'll lead you to a website that'll ask you this simple question: sandbark or wood chips? Obviously, a ridiculous question, but we wanted to start with something nice and simple. I invite you to go to this website now and select one answer that speaks to you, especially for our remote folks. You can join us at pollev, that's pollev.com/St. Francis 464. Again, that's pollev.com, .com/St. Francis 464. And from wherever you guys are in the world, we'll leave these polls open. So I'm leaving the bar graphs up here so you guys can actually see how we are collecting this live and on the spot, wherever you are. When you actually come to vote for each of the groups, as you will, you'll be asked 3 questions, right, with regards to 3 aspects that we want you to evaluate our groups. On 1, business readiness. On 2, innovation. On 3, of course, social impact. We won't be showing the results live here on the screen, but we will be collecting them in the background and using them to rank the students with regards to their projects. And the overall winner is going to get People's Choice Award that is awarded by you all. For practical purposes, are there any questions about the voting process from our folks in the House? Splendid. That means we made it simple. Excellent, excellent, jolly good. Well, in that case, from here, I'm going to invite out Megan Friedsam to introduce our judges.
We are really excited to have 4 awesome judges joining us from the community tonight. And one of the things that is so awesome about these classes is their continued connection to partners with St. Francis, and we're really looking to continue to expand that network. So we'd like to thank Urvi Bhandari. Urvi is a 20-year reformed Fortune 10 corporate executive at AT&T, IBM, Coca-Cola, and Walmart. The thread that is consistent in her career is her innovative mindset, driven by her nomadic lifestyle and connecting the dots on a global scale. Her vast network and the trusting relationship she has continued to build to collaborate with her and others to build the future of tomorrow. She's the co-founder and CMO of a recruiting technology platform focused on the candidate first. Additionally, she also provides executive coaching to candidates and companies looking for what's next. Shraddha Chaplow is celebrating her first year at St. Francis as our innovation coordinator and design thinking teacher. Shraddha worked in Silicon Valley for 11 years as a hardware engineer, building out technologies for Internet of Things, blockchain, and much more. She made the switch to education 2 years ago and truly believes in the power of this young generation of teenagers. And she wants to ensure they are prepared in heart and mind so they can positively address the challenges in the world. As innovation coordinator, she is really envisioning and starting to build out the opportunity for every student to have the ability to connect with a partnership through a project in class or off campus. And she identifies and builds relationships with our local and global communities. So to all of you in the audience, here or online, she looks to partner and expand for experiences for our Lancers. Kelsey Ford is another one of our judges. She is an alumnus of St. Francis class of 2007. Kelsey is the Ad Grant Partnership Lead at Google.org. Google.org is Google's philanthropic arm that connects innovative nonprofits with Google's resources to solve complex challenges and ensure access to the digital economy. Her team joins forces with nonprofit innovators, committing Google volunteers over $200 million in cash grants and $1 billion in-kind technology grants every year to create social change. Really great connection for our students and the visioning that they're doing as well. And Ben Lai is also with us tonight. He's a product manager at LinkedIn. 4 years ago, he left behind the life of a software engineer, even though writing code was intellectually challenging. He was seeking more meaning and wanting to have a greater impact on more people. Now, as a product manager, he envisions future possibilities and then turns those possibilities into reality. Ben is also passionate about fighting climate change, and something that lots of our groups are focused on today. He was one of the first members of LinkedIn's Global Sustainability Employee Group and continues to play a key role in the Silicon Valley chapter. So thank you to our judges for being here. And with that, we will get started with our first group who's kicking us off tonight.
Brilliant. So with that in mind, we have here our first team, Family Tree and Me. If you have a program, you're welcome to refer to it as we go through each of the teams. Family Tree and Me is a nonprofit organization leveraging DNA testing to reunite migrant families separated at the southern border. Let's bring Family Tree and Me in. Give them a round of applause, please.
Hello, I'm James Walsh.
I'm Dominic Acosta.
I'm Megan Giebord, and we are Family Tree and Me.
All right. Immigration is at an all-time high right now. There's been a spike of nearly 15,000 minors, including teens and young children, at the border with no parent or legal guardian. Within the last month, that number has doubled not doubled, it's at 20,000 now. These children are placed in detention camps until they're 18, and then they're released back in their country with no knowledge of how to live by themselves or on their own. The children and their estranged parents deal with long-term psychological issues due to being separated for such a long period of time, especially while these children are in their developmental period, a very vulnerable and easily influential stage in their life.
Mother Andrea and her son Jose are only two of the thousands of parents and children affected by this crisis. After a 2-week journey that included walking, buses, and a boat ride, Andrea and her then 3-year-old son Jose arrived at the U.S. border in Rio Grande City, Texas, hoping to seek refuge from the MS-13 crime gang. 4 days later, Jose was taken from her by immigration officials. There was nothing Andrea could do except watch as he cried and scrambled to get back to her as the vehicle drove away. After spending months at a detention facility in Texas, 2,000 miles from her son, Andrea was able to reclaim Jose from Immigration Children's Center in New York. Since then, they have been reunited, and Andrea has stated that her relationship with her son is difficult due to their past separation. When asked about the reuniting, Andrea said, "For me, I had a lot of emotions. I was very happy to see him. But for Jose, it was very hard for him. He didn't want to be near me. He wouldn't listen to me. That's because he blamed me for our separation." However, Andrea claims that is all worth it, as she is able to be with her son again. Many families still don't even get that chance.
The issue of immigration remains highly controversial, with extremists on both sides of the spectrum. It also remains a greatly discussed topic in politics, as many politicians hold various opinions on the situation.
Our first graph shows us how diverse the problem is. The immigration facilities are filled with people from Mexico, El Salvador, and surrounding countries. This only makes the situation more complicated in finding families and reuniting them. Because they are from different countries, it would be hard to reunite them through birth certificates and legal documents. Since DNA is universal, this would have a clear answer to our problem. Our second graph shows the influx of immigrants at the border and how much of a problem this really is. In March alone, there were 10,545 people booked into detention centers, and a processing center in Texas averaged 709 detainees a day. It's becoming more of an issue that needs to be dealt with, especially with COVID-19 rates in these facilities.
These families are separated by means that they cannot control. As demonstrated in Andrea's and Jose's story, gang culture is very prevalent in countries like Mexico, and factors including gang violence and recruitment drive families apart. Parents are also forcibly separated from their children if they have a criminal record, no matter how big or small the crime. These parents are not given the opportunity to find a new living situation for their child, and these children are often left to fend for themselves. So, our solution would be to use kits from 23andMe in order to match the DNA of children to their parents to reconnect them. By setting up stations near Joe Corley Detention Center in Conroe, Texas, all children and parents seeking to find their children will be DNA tested. Their information will be stored in a secure database where volunteers will work to match the DNA samples. In both the US and Mexico, it is legal to do DNA paternity testing without a parent or legal guardian present, so there will be no issues regarding the children being tested without consent.
Family Tree and Me will change the lives of thousands of families. Our mission is not only to reunite families, but to be able to give them a chance of new life and hope for a better future.
So our call to action, in order for Family Tree and Me to take off, we will need a partnership with 23andMe to receive cheaper testing kits. We're also asking for an investment of $25,000, which be used for purchasing testing kits and providing necessities for volunteers such as transportation, food, and housing at the border. We will also create a social media page where we can spread the word about Family Tree and Me, and people can learn about our mission, including ways that they can get involved that don't necessarily involve a trip to the border. We will rely on donations, so we will need to create a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe where people can donate money to help support our efforts. By creating an immersion program at St. Francis, students will be able to practice Spanish in real life situations, while testing children and adults at the US-Mexico border. There, students and other volunteers will gain skills and experience that they will take with them for the rest of their lives in order to ensure that immigrants' information remains protected. We will need to implement policies and possibly recruit lawyers. We will also need to be in contact with Joe Corley Detention Facility to keep tabs on immigrants and individual family members and how they're doing.
We want to thank you for listening and hope you join Family Tree and Me on our mission to change lives.
Very much. Hello. Thank you very much for the thoughtful presentation. I'm curious, how do you plan on bringing the migrant community into the solution? Have you actually met and talked with people? From like a usage standpoint, I could see there being some pushback to this. So just curious if you brought them into the fold or how you plan to.
Yeah. So we haven't actually considered that yet, but we need to look into that. We have every other aspect, like the detention centers and we're reaching out with 23andMe, but we do need to contact the actual immigrants in the facilities and ask if they would like us to do this.
Well, I'd like to thank you for bringing this subject for our attention. This is a very important subject. So my question to you is, if this is going to be funded by Kickstarter, have you done analysis of whether your idea would be popular, how much support, estimate how much support you might get?
No, we have not done that much research into it, but we do know that there are people out there who are very passionate about this subject, and so we are assuming that they would help us.
Also, there's an immersion program at our school that hasn't gotten to go to the border yet because of COVID, but I'm sure all the people who would like to go on that immersion would love to help us on our journey.
Presentation. Question that I was trying to understand is, you mentioned that kids are in the detention center till about 18 years of age. Are they there for months or years?
In some of the research that I actually did, I saw that some of the immigrant children were turned over to social services more recently. So I know there are children in there that are being held till they're 18, but I'm not.
I think it ranges from months to years. It just,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just whenever they turn 18, they kind of get released, so.
All right, friends. So then in that case, let's get to that voting. And if you wanted that QR code again, you're welcome to reference it here. Otherwise, one of the cool things about this application is as long as you keep the window open in your phone's browser, it will continue to live update as we show you guys a new poll. So with that said, let's go over to that now. Like I said, we're not going to be showing you what you guys are selecting, but it is going to start to show you that people are logging in and answering those questions. So go ahead and do that now. Again, there are 3 questions you're going to be answering, so we'll have these results broken up into thirds. Brilliant. Moving along well here. And thank you to all of those of you who are at home and doing this. I know our live stream is delayed by about 10 seconds or so. So I know people are probably just getting up to this part of the presentation. So we'll wait for more of those folks to come on. I'm sure a lot of the folks that are fully completed with that form are those that are in person. So thank you guys very much for your patience. Okay, so while people wrap that up, I'll introduce our next group that's coming out. This one comes from our entrepreneurship class. The group is calling themselves HERO, an acronym that they will explain to you when they get on stage. This is a B2B provider of a wireless charging solution that is intended for mobile hospital equipment. So with that said, let's bring them out to talk about that solution.
Hi, I'm Anthony Uslani. This is Nicholas Paniccioni and Devin Feathers, and together we are Hero Wireless. So a problem with hospitals right now is that they're not the most efficient, and we figured out that there's 3 main reasons why. The first is that the equipment itself isn't actually that transportable, and it's kind of stationary because it's plugged into all the walls. Another main problem is that it's not always available and charged fully, ready for use in a critical moment. And third, it has a long sanitization time. And when you add these all together, there's a long time for transport between room to room. And this could be very deadly if there's a critical emergency. And so at Hero Wireless, we thought of the idea of using a base station cart and a wireless charging mat. The wireless charging mat would have one for every hospital bed, and this would allow small hospital handheld equipment to be fully charged, and the battery cart would be used when the patient is being transported from room to room.
So what you're looking at right now is our 2 main products, including the base station cart alongside our wireless charger. As you can see, our base station cart has a large form factor battery in the middle of the cart, and then right below it is a wireless charger. What this allows us to do is keep the cart constantly charged and always ready for equipment. So an example could be if a ventilator is on this, it needs to be powered constantly. It easily slides off of that little box below it and can be transferred in between rooms, and it's constantly powered. This also helps in the case of emergency. If power generators go out and the hospital loses power, you're going to have the technology powered for a full 12 to 24 hours. Alongside that is our power mat, which will be for smaller handheld monitoring devices such as EKGs. This is magnetic, and basically just put EKG up there, it's ready to go, and then you can take it off and go in between either operating rooms or ambulances or anything like that.
So right now we're in an almost completely untapped market. There are similar companies that do similar things to us, but nothing that is geared towards the actual equipment. And we were able to calculate that our industry is worth about $90 to $115 million, and we would be targeting our product to mainly hospitals, pediatric offices, medical facilities, and medical ambulances, and any other facilities. And we think that facilities that have a high patient to worker ratio would benefit most from this, because this would allow the operating technician to be more useful around the hospital rather than constantly worrying about the charge on the battery. And so right now we're projecting that it will cost about $80 to manufacture each mat, and we would sell each mat for $150. To incentivize hospitals to order in large quantities, we're offering a 10% discount for every 100 mats, and we were able to find a total available market of $116 million, and we got this by multiplying each mat by the total amount of hospital beds in the US, which we got the data from American Hospital Directory. And this would be if we were to obtain the whole market, which we know is completely unreasonable. So these projections might be a little lower than expected.
Hero Wireless has 4 major competitors, which are split into 2 groups. In Group 1 is our major competitor, which is the OR, or Operating Room Technician. The OR technician's job is to stay in the operating room at all times and account for all equipment in the room and make sure it is charged and available for use. At any given point in time, there can be between 1 to 3 OR technicians in the room, so one goal of our product is to eliminate the need of multiple OR technicians in the room at once, in turn, hopefully allowing them to diversify throughout the hospital even more. Our second group of competitors consists of 3 companies that all specialize in wireless charging technologies. PowerMat specializes in creating wireless charging mats, which are then distributed to companies such as us. And Wearable Technologies and Witricity specialize in the creation of mechanical circulatory support devices which can be charged while within the body. We are confident that we can outperform our competition as we eliminate the need of multiple OR technicians, and no other company specializes in our proposed technology. Our marketing strategy is to go and attend many notable medical tech showcases hosted throughout the Bay Area, as this is where our key demographics will be located. Additionally, we will be reaching out to many medical institutions within the area to act as tests for our product. Lastly, we will be reaching out and trying to partner with medical tech websites to get articles produced on our product that will then spread the name outside of the Bay Area. Thank you. That has been Hero Wireless.
Thank you so much for your presentation and for your product. And I am all for this because wires always get in the way. So what medical devices can be charged through the cart, and what is the lifetime of these mats?
Currently for our cart, we're looking at a lifetime anywhere between 12 to 24 hours depending on the power draw. For the products that we're looking at is mainly monitoring, and then more recently there's definitely been a huge demand for things like ventilators and IVs, which need to be powered constantly. The thing with ventilators is that they need to be powered constantly, and it's very difficult to switch them out if needed. This will allow us to not only move them around, but also keep them powered 24/7.
So are the mats and the carts rechargeable? So I wanted to kind of answer, which is the lifetime you're saying is 12, 24 hours, but then recharge them, or is it just, do they need to have another one?
They're rechargeable, and basically our current plan for our product is that little black box that we showed below the cart is constantly feeding power to it, and then once it gets to 100% battery, it will just feed the power directly to the ventilator or any other medical device that is needed.
So another issue with medical equipment is that hospitals have their own generators and so forth, because there's a kind of much more urgency to keep the power on. Have you guys thought about being able to store backup power for various equipment?
Yes, this battery is constantly charged, so we'll always have that backup battery. Although our main focus is for those transition periods in between operating rooms or ambulances, it will be able to power those devices if needed.
My second son, so I think this is a great product because a lot of cords, a lot of things going on, a lot of beeping. At this point, what aspect of the business needs the most help?
I'd say largely manufacturing, getting into those trade shows, and we need to get a FDA and IRB certification to sell the larger product. We need to do more research on it, but we do believe that the smaller handheld wireless charging will only need a certification from the IRB.
So again, I provide that QR code for you in case you want to access that again. It's all the same poll though, so you should be able to just crack open that internet browser that you were on, and the poll is now open. again, especially for those folks that are listening and watching to our live stream. If you were not able to see that QR code, again, our URL to access the voting is pollev.com. That's POLLEV.com/St. Francis 464. Got a question? Very good question. Is 1 high or low? This is a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. That is, I'm sure will have an impact on voting for some folks. And there was like an audible "oh no" from over here in the corner. That's not what you want to hear. And just so everyone knows, as we get ready to welcome out our next company here, the voting will remain open through the next presentation and won't cease until we open up voting for our next business. So on the topic of that next business, we have the Brown Bottle. This is both a B2B and B2C biomanufacturing company. He's looking to drive the replacement of plastic bottles with biodegradable bottles made from palm oil production waste products. So with that having been said, Anik, come on out. Give him a round of applause.
Hi, my name is Anik Kamisetti, and I'm the creator of the Brown Bottle. We Californians love going to the California beaches, swimming in the beautiful blue water, and sunbathing on the nice warm sand. However, our beaches are not clean and beautiful. In fact, they are heavily polluted with plastic. This problem is so severe that according to the Center for Biological Diversity, Californians are literally swimming in plastic. This is not just a specific California issue. The plastic pollution problem is a worldwide issue. Specifically, a major contributor to this issue is our plastic bottles. To be precise, 8 million tons of plastic bottles end up in the sea each year, and 60 million plastic water bottles end up in America's landfills, streets, parks, and waterways. Furthermore, it takes 17 million barrels of oil to produce water bottles every year. This amount of oil could actually be used to fuel up to 1 million cars for an entire year. Not only are plastic bottles terrible for the environment, but they're also harmful towards humans. They contain toxic chemicals such as BPA, which can cause, and when these water bottles decompose, they release these toxic chemicals, which can be cancerous and can cause reproductive problems in humans. Our solution is the Brown Bottle. We plan to create a single-use, 100% biodegradable water bottle made from the waste product of palm oil production. Palm oil is a heavily produced item, and it's in almost everything that we use. It's in detergent, it's in shampoo, it's in soap, it's even in bread and chocolate. And in this process of palm oil production, a waste product called empty fruit bunches is created. This empty fruit bunch is an organic material, and we plan to use this organic material and through a soda chemical process proven by Dr. Rizzianto, we plan to make this material into pulp-like material, then putting it into molds to create the water bottle shape, and then sealing it with a naturally occurring beeswax, providing a waterproof sealant and making this water bottle strong and tight-knit. Our market for this product is huge. In fact, in 2019, the plastic bottle industry was a little over $166 billion, and in 2025 is projected to be $224 billion. We will not only be able to target environmentalists, but we'll also be able to target those who are indifferent to environmental activities, those who are indifferent about the environment, since our product will be similar to those plastic bottles already out there and will be in the same price range as well. You guys may be wondering, what about the alternatives already out there, such as reusable water bottles? These reusable water bottles, such as Hydro Flask, first of all, are actually not good and eco-friendly alternatives to plastic water bottles. In fact, these steel bottles require up to 7 times more fossil fuels and release up to 14 times more greenhouse gases than plastic bottles. Glass bottles are also not a good alternative to plastic water bottles, as they require a lot of heating and use a lot of resources and energy, making them just as bad, if not worse, than plastic bottles. Even paper bottles out there and paper cartons are, people think that those are also a viable alternative to plastic bottles, but they actually are not, since they contain 25% of polythene plastic. Furthermore, hydro flasks and these glass bottles are also very expensive. Our marketing plan consists of social media marketing and ads where we will not only get our product known, but also educate the consumer about the problems of plastic and problems of plastic water bottles. Furthermore, we also initially hope to get started through festivals and events where we can hand out our water bottles instead of them handing out plastic water bottles. In the future, we hope to scale our business so that we end up in big box retailers such as Target, Costco, Walmart, and other grocery stores. Overall, the plastic bottle issue is huge. They're terrible for the environment and they're terrible for humans, which is why we strive to create a 100% biodegradable water bottle that will significantly improve the environment and significantly improve human health. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. So if this brown bottle is biodegradable, over what time scale?
It will definitely be a lot less than plastic bottles, since plastic bottles take up to 1,000 years to decompose. It will usually take an average of 5 to 10 years for it to biodegrade.
Compliment you on your delivery. You did a great job of painting the picture. I felt myself swimming at the beach and then was like, oh, plastic. So nice job.
Thank you.
Have you thought about from a supply chain perspective? Oftentimes I know the raw materials are in like the indigenous people that are actually mining this. Have you thought about incorporating them into the manufacturing process? Like what does that actually look like at this point?
Like the palm oil, the waste product material?
Right, so they're mining that for other products. Like, have you thought about including them to actually create the bottles, I guess?
Oh,
or what does that look like, I guess is the question.
Yeah, in that palm oil process, so like companies are currently like producing palm oil, and the waste product is actually what we're using. And those companies are either using it as fuel or burning them, releasing even more CO2 into the air. So it's not really, since it's a waste product, it's not being used. And so we plan to use this waste product to actually create these bottles instead of it being burned and releasing even more CO2 into the environment.
When I drink Coke from a bottle or from a can, the taste kind of changes. So what happens to the taste and flavor within your palm oil bottle?
So I believe that water from tap and water from plastic bottles obviously both taste different. I think because it's a different material, I think it's also going to taste differently than how it would taste in plastic bottles and how it would taste in tap water, but that doesn't mean it's not safe. It's still going to be safe water with not a lot of chemicals, without any chemicals, and drinkable water that people can have. And also, because we use the beeswax sealant, the material, like the paper material or the waste product material, won't really affect the taste of the water as well.
Cool. Brilliant. Thank you very much. In that case, voting is now open. You are welcome to go to that same browser window, bring up that poll, and start voting. Again, this voting will continue to be underway while we have our next group coming out. This group over here is called SolarFlex. SolarFlex is the B2B and B2C developer of flexible solar panel solutions for large-scale mobile applications. Think cars, trains, and the like. With that having been said, let's bring him out. Give him a round of applause, if you please.
Hey guys, how are y'all doing?
All right.
Awesome.
All right. I'm guessing that many of us here has either been in an electric vehicle or driven one. They're very nice and definitely include a lot of benefits, especially one of them being eco-friendly. But the one problem with electric vehicles is they can't always go the long distance. I know from one of my many experiences, specifically with Tesla, is you can only drive for a few hours and then have to charge it again. And with that one particular experience I've had, we were driving to a soccer tournament. It was about 5 hours away, and I was carpooling with my teammate who had the Tesla at the time. 3 hours into the drive, her father realized the battery was low and then it had to be charged again. This was a bit of a shock because especially at the beginning of the drive, it had full battery. We all quickly pulled out our phones and quickly searched for a location to charge. We found one 2 miles from where we were, took the next exit. We plugged it in and we were all relieved for a little bit. But then we found out for the last 15 minutes the car had not been charging. We then had to go quickly find another one with the battery that we had left. It was a stressful actuality and printed on my experience greatly. I'm Leona Sawaya.
I'm Jonathan Versailles.
And I'm Justin Walker, and our product is SolarFlex. Electric cars struggle to find charging stations nearby, which makes long-distance travels very difficult. We are proposing a detachable solar panel that can be placed on the roof of your car and stored for ready use in your trunk.
So, how does our product work? Our product is a detachable and flexible solar panel that can be placed on the top of your car, and it can be used to any electric car. Its ability to detach and attach to any car allows it to be used while in motion, while driving, or while parked in the sun. Based on our projections and the type of the car that you use our product on, we expect up to 50% further charge.
So the market for our product is massive. Test? So the market for our product is massive, and it's quickly growing as well, as electric cars are selling now more than ever. Tesla, one of the largest electric car companies, delivered 184,800 vehicles in the first quarter of 2021 alone, which is up 109% from the previous year. Our total available market in 2019 was $214 billion and is expected to reach $1.26 trillion by the end of 2027.
As for our competitors, there's only recently a few companies who have embedded solar panels into their cars, such as Hyundai, Lightyear, and Tesla, who's recently incorporating them into their Cybertrucks. What makes our market unique is that it's detachable, and that our solar panels, the technology for it has recently become powerful enough to adequately charge a vehicle.
We estimate that this product is going to cost us around $500 to produce and deliver at the very start. Governor Newsom has recently committed California to transitioning to fully electric vehicles by the year 2035. We believe we can help make this dream a reality. If just a quarter of electric car-owning Californians purchase this device at $950, we will clear $78 million in revenue.
So this is a basic model of our product. Our dimensions for our product will be about 64 inches by 110 inches, and it is a series of interconnected solar panels that gives it that flexibility and being able to be stored. There will be a small wire that will be connected to the solar panel to the charging port of the car, which will allow the solar energy to charge the car. To secure the solar panel to the electric vehicle, we will have straps that will attach the solar panel and go through the doors of the car and be secured by a buckle.
Thank you for your time, and if you're interested in our product, we're seeking financial investment as well as any mentorship or internship opportunities available to us.
Yeah, so I guess I'm wondering, this is a really great idea, by the way. Wondering, you mentioned that you could attach it while the car is driving. But I mean, I would imagine there may be some aerodynamic issues around that, like especially like on a highway.
Okay, so the solar panel will be like attached to the car with an adhesive, and it's a very thin cable will be touching the car all along the side, and we don't anticipate much aerodynamic like resistance with that.
So can you customize the dimensions of the solar panel? Because if I have a big car or a small car, can I switch it around, or do I need to buy new cars?
No, you can customize the size of the solar panel since it's a series of interconnected. No, okay. Since it's a series of interconnected solar panels, you can take off a certain amount. If you have, say, like a small Prius versus a Tesla Model X.
Test. Thank you for your presentation. Could you just give an example of something that you learned and maybe iterated on as you went through this whole process?
I learned, well, I used to think solar panels weren't very powerful, and then I realized they are now, since the technology has evolved so much in the past few years. as well as I didn't know California was going fully electric by 2035. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, very good. So, as before, we're going to open up that poll again for you in case you need that QR code. We'll just show that real briefly, but you should be able to access it by going to that same browser window. So, opening up the poll now for our group SolarFlex. Again, same 3 questions. Innovation, social impact, business readiness. Scale of 1 to 5, 1 being low, 5 being high. And as y'all do that, we will bring out our next group. This one from our Design Thinking for Justice class, Insulibre. Insulibre, it's a nonprofit organization dedicated to driving down the price of insulin to Americans struggling to afford it. In that case, let's bring in Insulibre. Quicker. Forward and back.
How's it going?
Alrighty, well, hello. We are Insulibre, your one-stop shop for your insulin needs. My name is Elliot.
I'm Sahil.
So, what is insulin? Well, it's a hormone for humans to regulate their blood sugar, and some people can produce it, but others cannot. So, let's outline the problem. In the US, 1 vial of insulin, which is about 1 month's worth of supply, costs $360, while in Canada, it only costs $30. Super high prices force people to choose between insulin or paying for other expenses. To prevent generic brands from showing up, the market leaders evergreen their products in order to stifle out the competition. Some other important information is type 1 diabetes is when the pancreas produces no or little insulin. Type 2 is when the body does not produce enough insulin as well. So, and some other important information is hypoglycemia is when the blood sugar is too low, and hyperglycemia is when the blood sugar is too high. Because of high prices, roughly a quarter of diabetic patients depend on rationing, which is stretching out their insulin supply because they cannot afford more, or skipping doses altogether.
So the building block of our solution is rooted in partnering with large pharmacies and insulin producers such as Lilly Cares, Novo Nordisk, and Sanofi. And what we intend to do with these large corporate businesses is establish a system of mutual benefit. So basically, we're going to try and buy insulin from these large companies for cheap in bulk. But why would they even do that with us? Like, they already have a monopoly, right? But these 3 companies are competing among each other to sell more insulin. So what we're trying to do is promote their product and get it at a cheaper price. And in exchange, we're going to promote their insulin brand, bringing them more business in general. So it's kind of a system where we're benefiting, giving lower prices, and they're also benefiting. And we also hope to allow for delayed payments. So have you guys ever been on Amazon and you see something called Klarna? So that's something where you can make, like, let's say you have a $100 product, but you don't have $100 right now. You can pay $25 this month and then $25 for the next 3 months and buy that product when right now you only have $25. So we intend to have a similar thing with our insulin. We also intend to have a few benefits with our product. First is the loyalty discount, where we'll reward our customers for coming over and over to our app by giving them lower insulin prices. And we're confident in doing this because having that steady source of continuous revenue gives us some kind of assurance that we'll keep our business up and running. Second is the health discount, which is something we're still looking into, but it's basically going to reward our customers for keeping their blood sugars in check and also taking insulin regularly. And finally, we have the sharing discount, which is something we kind of adopted from Robinhood, an investing app, where if you share Robinhood with someone else, they get a free stock and you also get a free stock. So we're gonna have a similar thing, is if you share Insulibre to someone else, then you get some discount on your insulin and they also get some discount on their insulin. And by having this benefit, we're able to expand our network of consumers. So we developed a prototype UI for Insulibre, and here's how it looks, our first 4 screens. So when you go through it, you basically just create, you fill in your medical description and demographics so we can personalize your insulin treatment. And then after that, we can, we just basically, once we have all the details figured out, we're able to like customize it towards you. And here's where the home base of our app will be. So why choose Insulibre? So when we were first looking into solving this problem, there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes that we really can't address as high school students. So first we looked into government interference, and we can try to do this, but it's a very lengthy process and it could be even more harmful in the long run. Secondly, we tried to look into other types of insulins, like pseudo-insulins, but that would probably be a little bit more risky because we're not sure about the quality of those insulins. So that leaves us with Insulibre. So what do we need? To get our business up and running, we'll need $5,000. $4,000 will be allocated to the pool of funds for our users, and another $1,000 will be put into developing our app even more. And also, since we use community benefits, a network of people who use our app is necessary as well. Those in need of insulin, particularly type 1 diabetics, are unable to fairly treat their disease. So if you really need something, you're gonna go out of your way to get it. So that also applies to diabetics, because they're unable to buy insulin, a necessity to their life, affordably and fairly. The root of this issue is found in the lack of strict government regulation and the greed of large healthcare corporations. This is the reason and mission behind Insulibre. Thank you.
Sorry, that was the test. So I see that both of you are very passionate about this. What inspired you to pursue?
First of all, it's a major social issue. There shouldn't be any reason why it costs Americans 10 times more. And so obviously people depend on insulin because it is a necessity. So we decided that it's obviously a problem that needs to be tackled.
Great topic. What do you think is going to be your biggest challenge in getting big companies, the ones that are selling the insulins, to agree to doing something like that? And what do you think is going to, how will you push back, convince them that this is what they should do?
So right now, these 3 companies have a monopoly, so that's kind of where the issue starts. But right now, if we can convince them that our product is viable enough for them to promote their insulin brand even more, then I think it won't be that much of a problem to get help from these, or assistance from any one of these 3 large insulin producers.
Thought at all about HIPAA and any sort of regulations, and would you need to go through that regulatory process, or do you feel like this operates separate of the regulatory environment?
Can you repeat that?
So like, I just saw the app prototype, right? And it's asking for personal identifiable information. I know a lot of times with health, it's you know, there's like a whole regulation around that. So have you looked into that at all? Do you feel like this needs to be regulated, or would it be not subject to HIPAA, which is the regulatory for health?
I think it will have to be subject to that. We just have to look more into that.
Thanks.
Very good. So, moving on to voting as per usual, and now you can go back to your cell phones, pull up that same browser. Voting is now live. Again, for everyone that's voting at home, as I do encourage you to continue to do, you can continue to access our poll at pollev.com/StFrancis464. I'm sure this is all getting very efficient for you guys now. You guys are becoming well-honed, well-practiced at voting. Right. Now, we do have a very different group coming up, and so therefore I do feel compelled to get you, as the kids say, hyped. We have 2020 the card game coming up, and given that, I do want to get you guys excited about these guys. You do see that LLC after their name. That is not a joke. They have actually filed for an LLC. They are a actual business, and actually they were just telling me about their sales tonight, which they will share with you. But it's something on the order of a 33% increase month over month in sales. It's it's easy to have nice numbers when the sales are low, right? So, but it's really exciting for them. They have a really compelling product, including not just to say for fun that they have a game, but literally IP. So with that having been said, I want to bring them out. 2020, the card game. Please give them a round of applause. Perfect.
Our product is a game based on the chaotic year of 2020.
Relive your memories of 2020 with our card game.
Hi, my name is Macy, and I'm the Chief Operations Officer.
I'm Paul. I'm the Chief Executive Officer and founder.
My name's Caroline, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer.
And I'm Renee, and I'm the Chief Financial Officer, and we are 2020 the Card Game. 2020 was a memorable year. Whether it is attending a drive-by birthday celebration or tuning into a Zoom call from the comfort of your couch, we all relate to the niche adventures that 2020 entailed. However, it was a bit of a lonely time for some people, evident through 4 out of 10 adults exhibiting symptoms of depression or anxiety disorders, which is a dramatic increase from the 1 out of 10 reported the previous year. What better way to bring people together by playing our game? Our goal through this game is for people to bond over their similar experiences and unite over the hardships that they all faced in the notorious year known as 2020.
The game is simple. Players start by drawing resource cards like a government stipend or an anti-massacre card, which can be used to sabotage opponents. From there, players draw action cards, which encourage the players to relive memories of 2020.
Using social media to our benefit, we have built a small fan base, reached out to reviewers on Facebook and Instagram, built a website, and even gotten into some local coffee shops. While the traction we have is good, we need more.
So far, we have raised almost $3,700 through GoFundMe, thanks to generous donors. We have also received 9 pre-orders across the country and internationally. We have also received 11 more orders just tonight, which is almost $300. However, our main issue is breaking even. We need to buy a minimum of 1,000 boxes from a cheaper manufacturer and sell at least 350 of those to start gaining substantial revenue. To meet those goals, we have reached out to Gamescapes, which is a small tabletop game store in San Francisco, in addition to reaching out to coffee shops and purchased point-of-sale items to allow us to sell our game to you today.
Each box costs $5 per unit to manufacture if we order a minimum of 1,000 boxes. However, it costs up to $7 to ship each box nationally, making our total $12 per unit.
The ideal price for our product is about $25 per box. We developed this by comparing to other games in our category who retail from about $25 to $30. Through this and profits from each box, we can keep our LLC status, restock faster, and increase future sales.
We are currently spending around $440 a month to help operate our business. This includes keeping our website up and running, promoting our product to various social media platforms, taxes included with being an LLC, developing our product to make it something that our customers love, and other expenses like shipping materials and business cards. None of us are taking any income from this at the moment, which extends our run rate dramatically, and although we would like to increase our marketing promotional efforts, we do not have the funds to do so at the moment. We are asking for $50,000, which would go towards hiring a lawyer, product manufacturing, order fulfillment, building a stronger social media presence, and keeping a working capital.
With your help and investment, we are looking to further expand 2020 the card game, starting with stores such as Amazon and Target.
We believe in our card game and are confident that you do as well. Get your game on.
Thank you.
Great presentation, and thanks for the laughs. More than a question, a comment actually. Being in Silicon Valley, you can find lawyers defer the costs that they would be charging you until you get to a certain revenue. That's something to think about when you're thinking about the cost for your expenses.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was really great. For people who have played it, how long does the game go for? What's it like playing the game?
So it depends on the number of players. The minimum number of players is 4 players, which takes about 30 to 45 minutes. And the maximum is 12 players, which can take up to an hour and a half.
From personal experience, we played in our entrepreneurship class. Mr. Cannon got me out on the first round, so it just depends on how long you stay alive and how long you can avoid COVID.
This is such a fun idea. I love it. Quirky. So, if there was another game that you could think of that this would be like, can you give me an idea? Because I don't have an idea in my head.
So some of the card games that were like is I don't know if you've heard of it. Exploding Kittens. It's similar in the competition aspect. We've also compared ourselves to Cards Against Humanity, price-wise, as well as some of the touchy subjects. We really couldn't avoid talking about touchy subjects just with 2020 because there were so many unfortunate moments. But we've tried to make as much of a mature outlook as possible.
And then on top of that, I'd just like to add that as I was pitching to people out at the trade show tables, they were kind of comparing it to like almost a 2020 version of Monopoly. So if you could think about it that way in a sense as well.
I'll think about a digital version, given that 2020 we did a lot of Zooming, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think the thought crossed our mind, but also it's good to bring people together after such a rough year. And on top of that, we were trying to be as conservative as possible in the sense that we wanted to keep our eco footprint to a minimum. So we have our entire rule book that's online, and we use eco-friendly packaging materials and keep our box to a minimum as well.
But in terms of pricing, we would have to pay a programmer to make the app, which just adds to our expenses, and it was just easier to design the cards.
One more question, which is that I think that have you asked people whether maybe it might be and like it's still hard for people.
I didn't catch the last part of your question, sorry.
Yeah, so like 2020, some people, it's still very fresh in people's minds. So, maybe a too serious of a subject.
So that was weighing heavy on our minds the entire time. It's kind of a plus and minus. The plus side is people have it fresh in their minds, so they'll remember it and they'll want to buy the game. But if it's not in people's minds, then they might not be motivated by the game. But the other part is obviously there's like you said, there's hard moments. So there's an action card in our game that's a protest. And throughout revisions, we've updated that. And now players can choose whether they want to attend the protest or not. And other subjects like that, we've given people a choice to participate or not, so that they can kind of choose their side on things.
I think when making the game, we tried looking at the most positive aspects, while still acknowledging that it was very tough for other people, for many people. But then again, running out of toilet paper, I'm sure that's a lot of things that you guys had on your mind. So we are really conscious about those who have lost family members in a hard time, but we look at this as a way to bring families together, as a way to look at the positive and the good times of 2020.
And I think just really quickly to add is that we do compare ourselves to Cards Against Humanity because we do touch on a more sensitive topic, but I think that we do it in a tasteful way, where as the game progresses, maybe eventually in the future, if we can get there, we would add on packs that touch more touchy subjects as people we gain more traction and people start actually buying the game more so than they already have been.
Clicker. Very good, very good. Splendid. So there you go. QR code is up on the screen right now if you want to go and access that for our second to last group here. And voting has now begun. Again, for those of you that are remote, I encourage you to continue to participate here. Again, pollev.com/StFrancis464. And we're going to bring this right into the last group here of the night. And this one is Wavelifting. This is a B2C developer of a weightlifting tracking app, right? And that is enhanced with social networking features. So to bring us in here, Subin, give him a round of applause.
High school sports are famous for the community and relationships they create. Millions of athletes around the world meet their closest friends through these sports, yet very few of them get to continue in college or beyond. Many of these athletes turn to the gym, where they hope to continue maintaining their fitness and staying in shape. However, these athletes learn very quickly that the team aspect in weightlifting is very different than team sports. Lifting, despite it being the second most popular form of activity in the world, doesn't have a good community. Millions of athletes struggle with finding motivation to go to the gym and work out every day, since there isn't the same team community that is found with sports. With Wavelifting, I aim to change the way weightlifters interact with each other. The team behind this app includes me, Suvin. I am the CEO and co-founder of Wavelifting. It also includes my brother Sham, who is a data science major at UC Berkeley and has experience building apps. I also have experience as the chief marketing officer of FIDE Track, a college recruiting app for track and field, which I helped grow to over 5,000 users in a short period of time. Up on the screen, you see a preview of our app that will be released in the next 2 weeks. We have built it out to allow users to log their workouts easily and efficiently. We surveyed a variety of weightlifters from different gyms to ensure that the functionality of our app is perfect for them. The app that you see above will be free for all of the users to allow us to gain users efficiently. Once we reach the barrier of 10,000 users, we aim to convert it to a social network where users can share their workouts with their friends and followers, allowing them to have motivation to return every day. Many of these athletes really want a product like Strava, which works for endurance sports. They are one of our main competitors. Strava and Strong are two of our main competitors. Strong works as a workout tracking app. They have over 3 million users and offer the same features that we do. However, they charge a premium feature for all of their users. With us offering this as free, our users are more inclined to stay with our app than move to Strong. Strava, on the other hand, has perfected the social aspect of the fitness industry. They have over 74 million users for running, cycling, and hiking. We think they are a good case study for how our app can succeed in the fitness industry. For market validation, we have over 75 users registered to use Wavelifting. With the app being released in 2 weeks, we have some users beta testing the app at this moment. With lifting growing in popularity at almost 23% of people in the US performing muscle strengthening exercises, we think there's a large market for this app that we can grow into. We have found great responses from gyms that we have visited and shown the preview of our app. Many of the trainers have also agreed that they could be very useful for their remote clients, especially during COVID. We have a plan for monetizing the app once we reach 10,000 users and convert it to a social network. At that point, we plan to ensure that we have multiple avenues of monetization. One such avenue is working with trainers who need clients. Trainers are expected to bring in clients to their gym on their own. So with a large user base on our app, trainers can depend on us and advertise their services on our app. Fitness brands and gyms can also offer their services on our app to lifters who are near them or may be interested in their product. Another feature that we offer is a premium level for beginner athletes who might be interested in professional advice or could use our AI program to track their bar path and see how their form looks. This allows us to easily scale up since we will be able to help many individuals without needing a larger team. With our app about to be released in 2 weeks, we believe there is a large market for this. We are hoping for advice and guidance from the judges or anyone who has experience with marketing. Together, we can revolutionize the fitness industry. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. It was really concise. Well done. With Peloton sort of going through the roof in COVID, I was curious, did you think about in-home, or are you specifically only going after in-gym? Because you could imagine a similar, Peloton bike, but weightlifting mechanism as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. So we plan to work for everyone, whether they have fitness equipment at home or if they're going to a gym. So similar to what Strava offers, you just sync up the workout with the app, and it'll upload and your followers and friends can see it. So whether you want to log your workout on the app at home, if you have the materials at home and you're just doing squats or deadlifts at home, or you're going to a gym and working with a trainer, anyone can work with the app and use it.
That it's another potential revenue stream down the line, right? Is if you get people started with the app and then they could move eventually if they're, bought in, they could potentially buy it for the in-home use too. So great idea. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, so my question is, so is there a reason why Strava has not broken into this arena? Because it's obviously doing very, very well in its niches.
Yeah, so the creators of Strava were endurance athletes, so they did build it for that purpose. And they haven't really worked on their weightlifting category. Really, all they offer is you can log how many minutes you worked out for, and that's about it for weightlifting. And what we really think will set us apart from them is that our app is specifically tailored towards weightlifters. We don't have anything for runners or bikers or anything. So weightlifters can come to our app and they know that our full focus is towards them.
Another competitor you might want to look at is bodybuilding.com.
Yeah, we did look at them. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Subin. I'm going to take your clicker. Awesome. Okay, so here's our QR code, if you need it. And if you've got that going, then we'll launch the survey at pollev.com/DaveFrancis464 if you need that beyond it. Once you have voted on Wavelifting, we are going to take a short break in the house because that was our last presenter for the night. And we have some of our students who are back in the house with us as well. So we'll give everybody a round of applause for pitching to an audience. super meaningful for students to have an audience beyond their teachers, right? And this is true of these two classes, but also when we look at partnerships in terms of how we are encouraging students to learn anywhere and really kind of take what they're doing outside of the classroom. So very exciting to see the blurring of what they are applying in class to this time. So we are going to take a little break. If you are joining us online, we'll be back probably in about 5 minutes to announce the winners. Judges will be consulting in the green room. And meanwhile, Mr. Cannon and Mr. Shanahan are crunching all of your voting data so that we can have the People's Choice Award. So feel free, attendants, to use the restroom and then head on back in about 5 minutes and we will conclude our program. Thank you so much. And judges, if you'll just come out this door and then make a left, I'll meet you back there. Mr. Thompson, will you ring the little chimes for us? It's that time.
I find the best time to speak when everyone's in suspense, so I can kind of stretch the night out for you a little bit. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Mrs. Teagle under the mask here, the principal here at St. Francis. I want to, thank you. I just wanted to briefly say a thank you to everyone here, but most especially to Mr. Cannon and Father Steve and Ms. Friedsam for their incredible work behind the scenes. If there's ever been a year to iterate and to try something new and to see what innovation looks like when you're not in control of the conditions around you, this is certainly it. And they've done an amazing job responding to changing guidelines and not sure what we can do. They've been planning for several months now a lot of different versions of this event. So I just want to acknowledge that and all the work that went in behind the scenes just to make this possible. I really want to thank our Holy Cross interns, Mr. Shanahan, Mr. Lucas, Ms. Bernal, who were so instrumental in helping to prepare for this evening and helping throughout the night. So big round of applause for them. Always behind the scenes, Mr. Thompson, who has been helping get us going on live stream and helping throughout the event. A huge, huge thank you to our judges for their time in helping to prepare and to help our students tonight. And finally, for our students. I can't put into words, every person that I've seen this evening that they've asked me how I'm doing, I've said, I'm great because I'm with my kids. We have missed you guys so much this year, and to be able to spend this time with you, to be able to see your growth for me over the past 3 years, but for a lot of us over the last 4 years, to get to this place, to know the work that goes into preparing these pitches, to know the anxiety that comes with being on this stage, let alone wearing a mask and seeing that very bright light, that projector is very bright, ahead of you. We know that all of those pieces, you did a fantastic job. We are so immensely proud of you. And what I always feel at this event is such great hope for the future, not just of our school, but of our global community, because I know the future is in the hands of these amazing young people. So thank you for being who you are. Thank you for your resilience, and thank you for all of your work tonight. I'm very proud of you. So now the moment we've all been waiting for, I think. The moment, is it the one? All right, this is the one. I was not the moment you were waiting for. We're gonna bring out Mr. Cannon and Father Kim to share the results.
So if we could get the students who gave the presentations, maybe you can all come on up to the stage here. Yeah? All right. Yes.
Indeed. Yep. Hey.
Yeah, just over back here. Just keep it a little distance, and yeah, it'll be fine.
On up.
Yeah, most of them are here, still sticking around. They're good. Yeah.
Spread it out. Spread it out. Spread it out. Oh.
Yeah.
Right. Oh. Well, now that everyone is assembled, I have our first of all our judge results. Let's go with innovative first. This one goes to Hero. Come on up. Air high five. Wonderful, brilliant. Next up for our social our social innovation award, but certainly our highest degree or likeliest to produce a social impact. We have Brown Bottle. Brown Bottle, come on up. Air high five. Next, business readiness. For business readiness, we have, according to the judges, most likely to be turned into a business or be or have a positive ROI. 2020, the card game. Come on up. not to be outdone. Well done. And well, once you start it, you really can't stop. And then after our lots of tallying, we have from our audience in person as well as from remote. The results are in with an average score of 3.8 across all 3 of these categories. Wavelifting. Excellent. Well, thank you all very much. Hey, our 2021 winners of Lancer Tank, everyone. Give them a round of applause, please.
Congratulations to the winners and all those who participated. I invite everyone to please stand now for a closing prayer. And gathering all of our prayers, let us pray now the prayer that Jesus taught us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. And may Almighty God bless you all this evening, in the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Round of applause to everybody. Wonderful. Have a wonderful evening. God bless you all.
Thank you all very much for coming. You're wonderful. Thank you for your support.